Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. We are Holiday with the Heathers. If you are new here, hello, I am Jess. If you are new to our channel, please hit that subscribe button, we would really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this vlog at the end, please give it a huge thumbs up and don't forget to click that notification bell. In today's video, I am collaborating with a good friend of mine called Varrie. Varrie is known as Varrie Dunlop on social media, and she also has a health awareness page called Varrie's Survival Guide, and she is running an Instagram live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. called Survive and Thrive. Varrie kindly asked if I would be a guest on this week's show. We recorded the show on Tuesday last week and it was a great success, so I thought I would share it with you all today. So I hope you enjoy this vlog. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background information about Varrie and I. I followed Varrie on Instagram a couple of years ago when she was kindly sharing her cancer survival journey. Varrie sadly suffered stage 4 cancer a couple of years ago and she is battling on through, and she is currently in her remission and basically kicking arse and living her best life. She has an amazing daughter and an amazing family, and if you'd like to see more of her content, please go over to her Instagram and give her page as a follow, and you'll be able to see how amazing and how generous and how kind she is, and you'll be able to cover everything from mental health to health struggles, normal general life. So if you'd like to follow on with Varrie, and if you fell in love with her in this video exactly like I did a couple of years ago, then please keep watching, and we hope that we can help to raise more awareness for rare conditions, invisible illnesses and disabilities. Thank you for watching, guys. We hope you enjoy.
Yeah. After me back a bit, I didn't realise how close I was. How are you?
Fine, you're fine. Is you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I can hear you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. You?
It's nice to finally meet you after so long.
I know. So for those who don't know, I don't know why I'm saying this every time because I don't make any real life friends. I make Instagram friends. But I met Jess. This is Jess, by the way. I met her on Instagram. And it wasn't until you followed me with this account, was it? Because you did follow me on your other, like your personal one.
Yeah, it was my personal one, and then I started this one, and then I followed you on both, and then I followed this account. So I think I followed both. Yeah.
A little bit over the top, aren't I?
No. I'm
okay, so if you just want to I better do my disclaimers because number one, I haven't sworn yet in a live, which is good. Two, I tend to ramble, and number three, I did it last week. I tend to get brain fog, so if I completely go blank, it's because it's a side effect of chemo for anybody who's watching and you, Jess. So just ignore it. But yeah, I just want to do a little bit of an ASL, age, sex, location, a little bit about you.
I've done that since I was on MSN, for anyone who knows what MSN is these days. So hi everyone, I'm Jessica, I'm 30 years old. I'm originally from a place called the Wirral, just outside of Liverpool, but I now live in Hertfordshire, just outside of London, with my husband Wayne and my cat Trevor.
Oh, is it just you and your husband?
Yeah, Trevor has to get a mention on everything. Any video we do, his bum's in the camera or his face is in the camera, so he always has to get a mention.
Oh, and you also do YouTube, don't you, as well?
Yeah, we started YouTube back in March 2020. My husband was made redundant from his job of 10 years, so we needed something to do and we were really bored. So we thought, why don't we start a channel and show all of our travels from the last, say, 8 years that we've been together. Oh gosh, 9 years this year. You get less for life, don't you? Yeah, we and it's gone really, really well, and then Instagram came into it and a load of other things came into it, and it's quite surreal actually how successful it's done and how many friends we've made, including yourself, without being too cheesy.
It's well deserved though, because I mean, we'll get into it, but your story's it's quite incredible. I mean, earlier myself, I had a little tear in my eye. I don't know what. I just think people who go through bad times, like they always seem to be the nicest people ever, and you are like one of those people. So, right. So I want to explain a little bit about your story and yourself, because I don't ever know what to call them. Even with my own, I don't know if chronic illness, syndromes, I don't know. So if I give it to you and you explain your situation, basically.
Yeah, so keeping it short and sweet, I already knew that I had endometriosis back, I think, about 10 years ago. And for anyone who doesn't know, it's a chronic condition that affects a woman's reproductive system. And I knew that I had that problem. I knew I'd always suffered with anxiety. So back in 2014, when me and Wayne got married, we went to Turkey on our honeymoon, and we both got a bout of food poisoning. There was nothing wrong with the food. I think it was just too rich for our tummies. And then he got better and I never. So ever since then, I think it's like 6 years now. Yeah, 7 years we've been married this year. I've had nothing but problems. So it led to a diagnosis of fibromyalgia, which is a muscular skeletal condition that is triggered from brain stimulation. And then from that, there was just constant symptoms popping up, and it led to a diagnosis of a rare autoimmune condition called Behçet's syndrome, which led to a diagnosis of a motility condition called gastroparesis. So my gastroparesis has been caused by the Behçet's syndrome. And with Behçet's syndrome, it is inflammation of the small and large blood vessels. So it basically attacked my stomach, and gastroparesis translates to paralyzed stomach. So whatever I eat now just doesn't digest correctly. And I noticed back in June last year, my food wasn't digesting. I'd lost a lot of weight. I was a lot bigger than what I am now. And I was in hospital for about 6.5 to 7 weeks. And the only treatment that I can really get is through a dialysis catheter that now is permanently in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I received something called plasma exchange, which is what they're given to COVID patients, actually.
Yeah, I was researching earlier. I saw that.
There's a lot of adverts being thrown about on the telly about donating blood plasma. So if you've had COVID or your antibodies are good, please go and give blood, because it's going to help them dramatically. So I had my last infusion back in November, but it's currently stopped because it's not safe for me to leave the house. But I luckily had my vaccine on, I think, Friday. Yeah. So I've been a bit rough over the weekend, but yeah, it's been a wild ride. I'm trying to keep my answers short and sweet for you without boring, because I could talk around.
No, don't worry. I do ramble. I only say around half an hour because I just think it's not a long time to concentrate. But you know, I'm like it sometimes. You just sat there, aren't you? And then you like start thinking about other stuff.
I get brain fog bad as well. So I get what you mean. You kind of just, you're not zone out without being rude.
Yeah.
Like go into your own little world, and you don't even realise that the person's still talking. So if you see me looking that way, it's not because I'm being rude.
I do it all the time. So I think, because I think the way that you're explaining it is really good, but actually it really does affect your daily life. I mean, I didn't know how much it affected your daily life until I started watching all your videos earlier. So do you want to just explain like a couple of things that it actually affects your day to day? Because I was quite shocked. I didn't realise it was like that. So yeah. The big symptom of all of it, I'd say, out of all of the conditions that I suffer with, is fatigue. That's the biggest one. And I've learned to not feel guilty about having to stay in bed anymore. And as my husband's now out of work, he's now classed as my full-time carer. So some days I can barely even walk. Some days I can walk a mile. Some days I can swim. And there's just loads of different things that affect me from the food that I eat. So with gastroparesis, I've completely had to change my diet from eating whatever I want to only eating like low fiber food. So interrupt, but you can't eat like McDonald's or anything like that, can you?
No, nothing. I'm not gonna lie, I've had the odd like McMuffin with like just egg in it, which is just exactly what I'd have at home anyway. But all the foods that they tell you to have, like brown bread, brown rice, red meat, I can't have any of that. And this is, I don't know whether you're allowing me to express. It's just, as bad as it sounds, it just makes me so sick. Like, I've had people say to me, oh, you should stop making yourself sick. It's not good for your body to have an eating disorder. And that's just something that you have to just deal with. And I know that I haven't got an eating disorder, but if I did, that's not a very kind thing to say to people. But yeah, fatigue. Behçet's also causes severe mouth ulcers. It can give you eye problems to the point where you could go blind.
Yeah.
As it affects your blood vessels, you can get a lot of skin lesions. And like, I'll be completely honest, you can probably see my hands aren't in the best condition, and I get a lot of sores, and that's probably because I haven't had a manicure since before lockdown. So I'm not a good influencer, I hate that word, but yeah, I haven't had my hair cut in about a year. My eyebrows look like that character in the bin on Sesame Street. I'm just not hot stuff at the moment.
Honestly, you look fine. I'm hairdressers and I don't even know what's going on. So
yeah, I've actually put a little bit of makeup on today just because I thought I want to feel nice for a change, but 90% of the time I'm in my husband's pajamas because I don't have any more clean ones because they're all in the wash. I've probably got a t-shirt on that doesn't match, and then this cardigan, I think it's the first time I've washed it in about 2 weeks. So honest to God, I do without filters, and I know you shouldn't have filters, but my word, before this video I was actually making sure to find out which one worked, and then they didn't work, so I'm glad you got to see the natural.
have you got a filter on now?
No.
Oh, okay. I haven't got a filter on, but I've got a massive ring light, and I think
I've got a ring light, but it's not correct. The filter's making me look like I've been on holiday for a week. I look really sunburned.
No, you don't. You look fine.
Yeah.
Actually, on what you were touching on, which I have a lot of problems myself. I have got EDS, which is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. For those of you who don't know, it's a connective tissue problem. And I get it inherited from my dad from his hypermobility. So it affects a lot of my organs. My joints hurt. I get extreme fatigue and things like that. And I can totally understand where you're coming from with the tiredness, because it may not be on the same level, but I literally feel knackered from the moment I wake up to the moment I get to sleep. And it is a lot to deal with. And so I can totally understand that, because I wish sometimes I could lay in my bed, but you just can't sometimes, and it does take yourself a lot to pull yourself out. And the fact that you're doing like YouTube and all this other stuff, that's a bloody good thing.
I didn't know that you had EDS. I know quite a lot of people who I've personally met through Instagram who have got EDS, and I've met them because of gastroparesis, whereas gastroparesis is very rare because of Behçet syndrome. And I think there's only like 10 of us in the UK who have got gastroparesis and Behçet's together, so there's literally no support at all. Sorry, there's a bit of fluff in my face, but the patients and the people that I spoke to with gastroparesis all seem to have POTS, which I can't pronounce.
Yeah, I've got it.
I'm actually due to have a cardiology appointment next week because they've reckoned I've had it for a long time. But gastroparesis is a big thing that comes with EDS. I'm not saying that that's something that you're going to get. Same with people with Behçet's, it's so rare. And that's the hard thing, I think, about chronic conditions, is not everyone's the same. And whereas I'm getting plasma exchange, no one else can have that unless they've got Behçet's and gastroparesis, because it's not right for them. And that's the part that I find really hard with helping people and supporting them, because they just want the answers there and then, and I don't even know the answers myself, and I feel like a bit of a fraud sometimes, because I'd love to say, yeah, this is where you can go for help, this is what's going to happen, but it's just not the case at all. But I couldn't believe that you've got that. I'm really shocked. I'm sorry that you've got that. I hate the fact that you've got that.
Right. I think mine is was on my whole life. I think I've had POTS and EDS, but it's never really been affected. But I think the chemo and that has affected it, where it's it's got a bit out of control, and the main place it affects is my heart. So one of my valves, the connective tissue there, doesn't work properly, so I just get out of breath and things like that. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? But what does annoy me, which is one of the reasons I did want to get you on, because it's a topic, is how people who don't see your illness because it's invisible react to you, and what sort of situations you've been in, because I get a lot of piss taken out of me. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's from a good place sometimes, but it is a little bit like, well, if I had, like, for example, when I had cancer and a bald head, no one was making fun of me. Do you know what I mean? Because they could see it. But because they can't see me being ill, I do get a lot of comments. So I just wondered if you've had any experiences like that.
Yeah, the other day actually, I had a lovely human being comment on my post about my vaccine, and he said that I don't deserve the vaccine. If I had a ventilator, it should be turned off, and a load of other stuff. So rather than letting it get to me like I would have done, I commented a comment which I probably shouldn't have done. I should have just deleted it. But I thought, actually, no, this person does need a bit of support. And I thought, and this is no disrespect, I thought they generally do need help, because I don't like using the word normal. I just don't use the word at all. No one's normal. We're all different. But I thought this person must be going through it to have to find that hatred. So I just put the Mind UK charity website underneath, because I thought, you obviously do need help. And that's not me being mean. That's not me being mean at all. He obviously does need support. And then I deleted it after 5 minutes, because I thought, and then I felt flattered that he'd actually read my article. And then someone else wrote on an article that was in the papers a couple of weeks ago, someone wrote, well, she obviously likes her food, because obviously I've lost 3 stone. I was bigger than I am now, but I'm happy with my body. I don't care how big I am. I really don't. I used to be worried. I used to pay a fortune for Weight Watchers. And I thought, well, you obviously haven't read my article, have you? Because you'd know that I have a condition. I said, but thank you for commenting. I said, because the more people see your comment, the more awareness is going to be raised. So keep commenting, keep bringing those nasty comments. It does not bother me at all. And other little things like people telling me I shouldn't use disabled toilets, and I've had to show them my...
Oh, well, like, can you imagine going up to someone, sorry, you can't use that toilet? I remember I never applied for a disability card when I was ill, because I'm in hospital, so there was just no point. But my partner's brother died of cancer at 27, and when he had a disability like a card, someone came up to him like square in the face and was like, you shouldn't have one, blah 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 blah, and he didn't even say anything back. Do you know what I mean? I was like,
it makes me laugh now, because I just think,
how can...
all I think of, I don't like saying it, but my husband actually said to me, the next time no one said anything to us about having a blue badge, and I've always said no to getting one, but now I actually do need one, because the thought of opening the car door and catching this on the car door, the dialysis catheter, would just, it makes my teeth, oh, I couldn't imagine catching it. It would be a disaster. But my husband said to me, I'd just love for someone to come up to me so he could say to them, goodbye, Karen. And I don't like that. I don't like the word Karen. Why can't it be goodbye, Jessica, or see you? But it's true. I don't understand how people have so much time on their hands to just belittle people. But yeah, without waffling on too much, yeah, I've dealt with it, and I just brush it off. Or try and be polite, because I'm struggling.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things, like, you just should never judge anyone by, you know what I mean, the outside, because you honestly don't know. Like, you don't know at all.
You don't know what they're going through at home. They must be so lonely and so bored. And it makes me sad to think that there's someone out there who has the time to comment that stuff. Because I don't think anyone's genuinely that evil. I just think they've just maybe, they might have banged their head and they might have a brain problem, but I've never done that.
Yeah.
I've never said anything, so yeah.
So do you want to explain, because you had a PICC line in, didn't you? Or when you were in hospital?
Yeah, with Behçet's, because it's the blood vessels, no cannulas will stay in my arms. It's an absolute nightmare. I had about 30 different cannulas within the space of a week and a half when I was in my local hospital. And then I got it fitted 2 days before I transferred to the Royal 3 in London. And then the plasma exchange has to go through 2 tubes. So if I just give you a quick brief description. Plasma exchange is donated blood plasma, so it's a component of your blood, and it contains the antibodies and good antibodies as well as your carbohydrates. And then what they do is they take out the blood plasma through one tube, through the blood, separate the blood plasma, and you can see it in a bag at the back that it's all gone. So I always say goodbye to it as I leave and go, see you later. And then they clean your blood up, kind of like dialysis with a dialysis patient, and then they'll put it back in through the other one. So you've got two tubes attached to the one that goes, so it goes in through a hole in my chest, and then it goes around, trying to think now because I'm looking at myself there, it goes around to a valve near your heart. And it's been, I'm not gonna lie, it's been an absolute nightmare. I can show you it if you want, I don't mind.
I'll whip it out. Whip it out.
See the scar there?
Yeah.
I'll come a bit clear. You can see the scar just there, and then the tube runs down, and then that's the actual sorry, God, it feels weird doing this. That's the actual tube just there. Sorry for anyone who's queasy. It's a bit red and sore at the moment. We're not sure if it's got an infection. I've been on antibiotics on and off for the last like 3 weeks, and because I'm not getting my actual treatment, I've got district nurses coming to the house every week to flush it and then dress it, and I've just learned to dress it myself. I've had to do it 3 times in the last 2 days. I don't know whether you had a port, did you?
Yeah, I had a PICC line, so I didn't have a port. I had a PICC line, and actually it nearly killed me.
I'm worried about sepsis. Is that what you had?
No, so it got an infection, but where I had no immune system and I had no bloods, they basically let me out for my break for 5 days, and I was out for lunch with my friends, and I had a sip of wine, and I just all of a sudden felt so ill, and it just like within an hour I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, it was like one of the scariest things ever. And I actually rung the hospital, and they were like, come to hospital now. And I actually got into Southampton Hospital, which you won't know, but yeah, I got near the hospital near me, and I collapsed in the middle of the hospital, and I woke up in a bed. And I remember the guy, my oncologist coming in with the registrar, and he was like, Varrie, stay with me, stay with me. And I honestly thought then I was gonna die. Like, you know, it was just like one of those, you know, I don't know if you've ever experienced, but everything was like in and out and blurry, and I could hear like people's voices. And then I woke up literally an hour later, and they must have took a swab from it, or something like that, and they were like, oh, your PICC line's got an infection, where you had no immune system, and I had no red blood cells, which shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be out with no red blood cells.
No, you shouldn't. That's insane.
But literally where you had I had nothing, it just like, yeah, took like a nasty turn.
To even like,
yeah,
once you collapsed, it was, if you had to collapse anywhere, it had to be the middle of Southampton Hospital.
Well, it's quite good, because if like, I don't know how, I was already at hospital, you don't know how long if I collapsed before that to get me there with nothing in my system to fight off an infection. And they gave me 3 bags of blood and a plasma exchange there.
Oh, you've had plasma exchange.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It makes you feel like a superhero, doesn't it?
I think mine's different to what because they just put it in a bag.
Yeah, they can just put it straight through an infusion, but I think with mine it's where they have to like take it out. And then I did have real fresh frozen plasma while I was in hospital, and I'm actually on a substitute now, which is apparently made from egg protein. It's so unusual when I think about it, how things work. Someone is so clever out there to do that. Yeah. And they made the same components, but like a similar thing did happen to me. It was my 2nd day of my first round, and then I just got a massive rash. I couldn't breathe, and then that was it. Then I had like 20 doctors around me. I had the defib pads on me, and I think I grabbed the doctor by the scruff of the neck and I just said, do not let me die. Sounds so dramatic when you think about it, but yeah, it just, I know how you feel when it comes to stuff like that. You kind of, it's weird, isn't it? You never think you'd go through it, but you kind of think you're at peace with it, I think. And I just kept thinking,
I just remember like,
I've had a really good life. I've watched Peaky Blinders, watched Game of Thrones, I'll be fine.
Been to Disney enough times.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's okay.
This one, I think always people who have been through like traumatic stuff, like, I don't know, they're just, I feel like something shines different. I don't know what it is, and this sounds really, I don't know even know what the word is, but I do honestly feel it. And I feel like, like that when you speak to people, it's almost like when I'm speaking to you now, like you just on like, just give off so much like positivity.
I just don't care about anything anymore. Like, I still am anxious, and like I'm still probably one of the most anxious people on the planet. Burn my toast, I end up crying. And I think that's partly, I haven't really spoke about it a lot, to be honest. I've spoke about it on YouTube and on a podcast, but I've actually got, on top of everything else, I've actually got emotionally unstable personality disorder, which is a mental health condition. And I worry about that because the first thing is I'm going to think, are people going to think that I'm stable? Are people going to want to not get close to me? And a lot of people do suffer with like substance abuse or drug abuse. And for me, it's literally just been food. And that's the only thing that I've really ever been attached to. And that's how it's affected me. But I do struggle around people. And like, but now I'm just at a point where I just don't care. I do care about people, but I just don't care about the little things anymore because I just want to thrive. And
I was going to say, did you have the personality disorder before?
I was actually diagnosed in 2017, but it all stemmed from the honeymoon, everything. It's just been so unusual. As I said, before the honeymoon, before my wedding, I was completely fine. I only had endometriosis, which was fine for years. I had a Mirena coil for about 7 years, and no periods at all, symptom-free, and then just the odd checkup in between. And then after our honeymoon, I think it was a mix of the wedding and the stress of the wedding and being ill on the honeymoon, something clicked. And I did have quite a bad car accident a few months before. So I think it was just 2014. It was like the best year of my life, but it also was probably the worst.
Yeah.
My poor husband must think it's him, but it's not. I had an anxiety attack 2 weeks before the wedding. I thought I was having a heart attack, but I was like, no. I was quite naive, and I said, no, anxiety, what's anxiety? Like, it's just people being drama. And that's what I said to the doctor. And I worked in like a care home for people with disabilities. How awful is that? It's so bad.
I think though, if you don't, I've always said this, if you don't suffer with it, you just don't get it. My mum's like that. Never ever suffered with it. She understands it now because my dad had really bad depression, anxiety, but like for years she was so like, what do you mean you can't do that? Like, just go and do it. And I do think it is a little bit like, but I don't think you should be ashamed to talk about your mental health problems at all, because you're so open with obviously the physical one. Mental thing, like,
I don't think it's the mental health side. I think it's just the stigma that comes with border. It's, people call it EUPD or borderline disorder, and sadly it's been linked to a lot of people who do have a label, like for example even serial killers and stuff like that. So the stigma around it is so negative, but now I just don't care. I think that's me. And
what's it called? Because you cut out then when you said it.
Sorry, it's called either borderline personality disorder or emotionally unstable personality disorder.
Yeah.
And doctors as well do kind of say it's just the name for a condition, we don't know where to put you, because there's a bit of everything. I think I've got a bit, it's like traits from everything. So I'm not bipolar where I'm up and down, or I'm not OCD with everything, but I am a bit of a fanatic with things, and some points I can be, I'm not like manic one day and then low the next. I'm just either emotional or happy. That's it, really.
Yeah. My friend has it. I know that has it. But she's the same. She doesn't, because she said that it's a lot of substance abuse, but she says she's never, she's never been affected by any substance or anything like that. So,
well, with me, it's food. So having gastroparesis is really difficult, because whenever I'm feeling low or feeling down, I just reach for food. I used to go through like 10 bags of crisps a night sometimes. And that's partly because it was just there, and then I'd enjoy it for that 30 seconds. And then afterwards I'd be like, I shouldn't have done that. And now I'm on a really good narrow path. Like, I don't binge eat at all. And they've tried to like diagnose me with like binge eating disorder, but I think it's generally down to just comfort eating. And I'd rather it be that, but now I can't. If I eat anything that's wrong, it'll just be catastrophic for me. So I've just got to make sure I like keep a level head. And my husband's really good. Like, if you see me eating anything, I go, do you want to spend 6 weeks in hospital again? Like, do you want to? I'm like, no, not really. Not at all.
It's so hard though when you're in the moment. So Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. You're always trying to ask every guest that's on. For somebody, obviously at the moment we're in COVID, everyone's struggling for different reasons. What is something that you would tell someone that's going through a bad time? What is one bit of advice that's helped you get through your struggles? And
depends what situation they're going through. I'd just say make sure that you've got someone who you can trust and someone that you can talk to, whether that's a family member or somebody that you work with. Don't force that like friendship or relationship, but even reaching out to someone who you know is generally a nice person. At the end of the day, if they don't want to talk, they won't talk, but that's what the charities are for. Just try and Google the charities, rely on the support from the people around you, really, and just try and stay within like a positive mindset. Remove the people who are negative in your life. You're not going to be criticized for it. But I don't really know, really. I'm probably the worst person to answer this.
Remove the good thing. It is a good thing. Get rid of the thing. But yeah, no, it is really good advice. And I haven't had someone come on and say to talk to somebody at all. So that is so good, because so many people don't talk to someone. So if you can find someone, like you say, that you can trust, then it's always good to. I always find people that I don't know really good, like just people like sometimes that I've just randomly met through Instagram, and I just unload my trust on them, and then I don't know them. And if they tell anyone, then I don't know who they've told.
This is probably sounds so random, but I found with social media, and it's probably going to sound so stupid, but I find hashtags are really, really like beneficial. If you were to type in hashtag health awareness, it's going to lead you to somebody who's gone through something that you've gone through. And if you were to tag this with hashtag health awareness, it would lead to a load of other people, and they might be doing a live feed, and that person might be doing a live feed. And before you know it, you're in a group chat with other people who've got the same interest as you. All you have to do is click on their page, DM them and message them. If they don't reply, they don't reply. And you might find that someone does. And that's what I found with people like me. They've just reached out. And I might not be able to give them the help that they can, because I never would with regards to medical stuff, because I'm not a professional. I'll always just lead them in the right direction of a charity or a GP. I think I've even Googled a local charity for someone in Morocco, because I couldn't understand what he was saying because of the language barrier, but I'll try. And if I can't, I'll be honest, and just even putting a smile emoji can make someone, or just always be kind. If someone says hi, just say hi back. And then and if you don't want to talk to them, just be honest. But hashtags are really good, I think, for awareness. I do waffle on a bit, don't I?
No, not at all. You're only 31. I think last week we were like 39. I don't be as long as
it's been half an hour already.
Yeah.
Words. Oh, I'm enjoying this. It's nice.
Oh, I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I just think it's sometimes nice to hear, like, through Instagram, I've met so many different people. Like the first week we were speaking about somebody, you know, passing away, like death on a mum and dad. The second week we had things about suicidal. This week we've got things about like invisible illnesses. So yeah, it's just like, I think it's really interesting to find out by other people. And I think at the moment it's a good distraction, because you're listening to someone else's life and how they've gone through something maybe similar, or even if it's something worse, you can always relate to some part of it. And I just think it's nice for people to hear that no matter how crappy it can get, you really can get through everything. And that's kind of why I do these, because I just think, I think it's nice to hear. Well, I'm interested in other people, so.
I will say as well, like, if anyone who's watching this, because I've noticed there's been people writing really lovely comments and stuff like that. So thank you guys for writing such nice things.
I'll have a look.
We have been reading them. But yeah, no, DM me whenever if you just want a general chat, and I'm sure Varrie's the same. But I have just created a Facebook group. I think we've only got about 4 people in there. But it's for anyone with disability, rare health condition, chronic illnesses, because I find there's so many individual ones for individual conditions, but there's not one where people can just talk about whatever they want without, like, it has to be about POTS, or it has to be about EDS or gastroparesis or whatever. But it's just a space. I don't know how it's going to work, but it's in the link in my bio on my page if anyone wants to have a look, and I'll accept you. But that's what I'm hoping over the next couple of months. It'll become a little hub for people to just chat. I think sometimes DMing groups can be quite overwhelming. Your notifications are constantly going on all the time. It can be a bit overwhelming for someone who doesn't want to talk, and then before you know it, you've muted the group. So if anyone wants to join, you're more than welcome. Yeah.
I
you
would
know what I mean about
yeah, definitely.
overwhelming. You're trying to constantly catch up with the next comment, but if it's like a commenting thing, like a forum, then people can talk a bit better.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
I know quite a few people with like autoimmune diseases and things like that. So I will share it on this one. I'll also share it on my other one as well.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice.
That's all right. To see if it helps people. Let's have a look at the comments. So we got Louise. She goes, absolutely love your honesty. That's amazing. You can deal with anything like that. Let's go down. You guys are little soldiers. Agreed. And then I need to, oh, that's my friend saying she needs to leave. But I really like that. So kind. Yeah. So those are all the comments. Oh, my last question I always ask, just because sometimes these conversations can get a bit depressing. 3 people that you would invite to round your house for dinner, dead or alive?
3 people who I'd invite, and it can be anyone.
Anyone.
Okay. One would be Lady Gaga, because she has fibromyalgia like me, and she could provide the entertainment. 2 would probably be my mum and my sister, because they come as a duo, so it has to be. I know you've said 3, and one would be yourself, because I haven't met you yet, and it'd be nice to entertain. Break out silence.
Yeah, sorry, weird. Hello.
Hi, Leah.
Can you hear me?
Oh no! I think you're back now.
There you go. Who did you say? I've got Lady Gaga.
My sister, because they come as a duo, and yourself, because I haven't had a chance to actually meet you properly yet. So
thank you. I make a brilliant guest.
Oh well.
I eat anything. I eat anything. Right, I'm going to round it off there. You're going in and out, so if I can't hear you, it's because it keeps breaking up, by the way. Yeah, so I'm going to round it off there. As usual, thank you so much for coming on my, I was going to say show then, it's definitely not a show, but my live with me. I think you're bloody big. And yeah, I will put your links up on my, what am I saying? Up on my story as well, so your Instagram page and that. Next week is a little bit of a different chat. If you're joining me next week, I have got somebody else who is a cancer survivor. We actually had cancer at the same time, and the same type of cancer, but not the same type of cancer. Very confusing. I'll explain another time. Well, next week even. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for everyone that's watching. I know I have a few. That's okay. I just wanted to say as well to the people that watch every week, because there's a small handful of you that watch all the time every week. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you coming on these lives and not making me look like an absolute loser. So thank you so much. Thank you, Jess. Take care. Bye. How do I...